by my purported victim. While on his yacht, he witnessed an African-American males having sex with white blonde females, all of whom were bleeding during intercourse. He was a victim of the type of ritualistic sacrifice in which feet were cut off with a scimitar, but left no scarring. On the yacht, he witnessed babies being dismembered, their intestines removed, and individuals eating the feces from their intestines. He was also raped by George Bush I. I'm just reading it, guys. Don't get mad at me. I'm just reading this. There ain't no way this shit's real. I mean, it might not be real. I don't think it's right. Like, I mean, again, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. But damn, this is gonna require some fucking astronomical evidence. Oh my God. Yes. Why are you laughing? Because it's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. That's why. Oh my God. And so anyway, victim disclosed that he was being escorted to the FBI building by Michael Moore, who's the creator of True Pundit, described on multiple sources as a conspiracy-driven news website that attempts to paint the FBI in a bad light. Moore has a criminal record as a result of the FBI investigation. Let me know if you want to discuss the former FBI agent that called into this head office. Oh my fucking God. So it goes even farther than this. All right.
Friends call me Anna Marie.
Wow, this is going to be crazy. Let's go. Anyone who believes the anonymous tips line also believes the world is flat. Yeah, that's true. And all of these are anonymous tips. They're not substantiated. It doesn't mean anything is real. But here we go. On Tuesday, August 27, 2019, myself and SA conducted an interview of a purported victim of Jeffrey Epstein as per referral by a former FBI SA and journalist Michael Moore. Oh, not the filmmaker. Oh, okay. But at 1200 hours, the male identified as one, arrived at the C20 office, stated he was unemployed and resides with his mother and her unemployed, morbidly obese boyfriend, stated he has ingested hallucinogenic mushrooms as well as other illicit substances in the past and currently smokes marijuana, reported being raped by his great uncle since the age of 5 years old until 22, described, you know what this is like? This is like a cutscene in Diablo 2. Really? Holy shit. Oh my God. What the it's worse. Yes. It's even worse. Want to vomit? Yeah, it gets worse. Get ready. Listen to this. This describes meeting Epstein at a yacht club in who knows where. Of his relatives were members, first at age 5 and later at age 8. States he was raped, sodomized by Epstein in 2000 on a large yacht, 9 out of I don't know how many, as well as by former President William J. Clintonian. Uh-oh. States that the current President Trump, along with his wife Melania, were present during the yacht trip. Trump not married to his current spouse Melania until 2005, reports while being raped by Epstein and Clinton that he was in heavy drug-induced state. Stated that all above incidents were recovered repressed memories until he began therapy in 2016 appropriately. Offered no supporting or corroborating evidence or witnesses that could be contacted. Appeared to me emotionally unbalanced and intoxicated. At this time, it is not recommended that any investigative sources be expended concerning this claim. So, recovered memories? Well, yeah. I mean, this is, dude, eating the oh my God, this is just deranged, isn't it? Yeah, this crazy bullshit spoils the stuff that may or may not be real and it harms the real victims. Yeah, but how are we supposed to know what's real? Yeah, I mean, this is it. I mean, like, I didn't, thanks, I didn't realize Bush raped him too. Okay, he has more to tell us too, he said. Thanks. I didn't realize, oh, the president raped him too? Okay. Got it. Yep, sure. So basically, this is what my mom always believed, is that there is an initiation ritual into the leadership class of the world. And inside of the initiation ritual, you would have to do something that is like just so like insanely like perverted, perverse, evil, deranged, and awful, that you would do two things. The first thing would be that you would have blackmail on you that would totally destroy your life with no chance of ever recovering it, so they can control you and you have to operate within their best interest. That's number one. And number two, it is the basically the refutation of anything other than hedonistic Luciferian desires. So it is the refutation of religion, a higher power, or anything like that. And it's done not necessarily in, like because you've got to remember, like, Satanism and Luciferianism, these are like two branches maybe of the same tree, but they're not the same branch. It's different. And so whenever you're talking about this is more about the, you know, obviously, like, yeah, the Illuminati. Keep in mind, like, what is even the word? Look at the etymology of the word Illuminati. And it's not the same at all, exactly. And so this is, no, there's a lot to, like, y'all don't understand. Like, I don't talk about this stuff a lot, but I mean, y'all think I spent 25 years on the internet for nothing? Y'all think I just been looking at porn the whole time? No, only half the time. Not evil, just powerful. Well, I mean, it's Lightbringer, right? There's the Lucius Trust, Luciferianism, and then again, like, it goes into, like, you know, the fucking, you know, the dollar bill and everything. This is like a huge, huge conspiracy. I'm not even saying that I believe this, but I'm saying that this is the pieces that they put together, right? So yeah, do you believe in the Satanism shit, or does it only matter if they do? Do I believe in it? I think Satanism is a lot kind of like Scientology, where it's an ideology that's built around, like, metaphysical kind of, I'm trying to think, like, the word for it, like, metaphysical, like, philosophy, and not necessarily like a belief system. I know that they have, like, Xenu, and there's, you know, obviously Satan, but, like, it's mainly a metaphysical philosophy that's different. Like Anton LaVey, who's the other guy? Aleister Crowley, like, these guys, like, they were religious, and but it was more than religious. It was a cult, right? Because, like, you've got to remember, like, these guys were part of the Golden Dawn. The Golden Dawn. This was a group that I think it was Anton LaVey joined. It could have been Aleister. You know, it was Aleister Crowley joined whenever he went to Oxford as well. And no, this goes. It's very, 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 very deep. And yeah. And again, Golden Order, look at the, you know, the etymology of that. There's a lot of this, right? And so, yeah, dude, this can't be real. Well, I don't think, listen, guys, I'm not saying that it's real, but I am saying that if it is real, if you think of, like, a 200 piece puzzle, and there's 195 pieces on there, this is piece 196. It is. It is. This fits perfectly inside of every other conspiracy. The 4chan founder Moot is on the Epstein files. Look at this. Last night in San Francisco, I met some interesting people. There is a cool guy, kid, that you should meet. Christopher Poole. He is only 23. Read his bio. So, Christopher Poole is the creator of 4chan. Yes. So he met Jeffrey Epstein. Oh my God. And then here we go here. This is the big one, guys. This is the big one. Poll. This is a subreddit that a lot of people are on this subreddit. And those people, I'll say this. If you want to get an alternative view on politics, go to Poll. You're going to hear things there you don't hear anywhere else. You don't hear anybody else talking about shit on there. It's a subreddit? Sorry, I'm too Reddit brain. That's like a... Honestly, I feel like that's like a... I basically just called it a slur. I did, I guess. calling a board a subreddit is actually basically a slur. Oh, man, that's bad. And so anyway, it's embarrassing. Yeah, they hate you now. Does Poll hate me now? I don't know. Should I go on Poll on stream? Should I do that? What do you think, guys? And so anyway, This was in October the 10th to 23rd, 2011. So 3 days after Jeffrey Epstein, he's great. I have no idea who he is when we met. We talked almost an hour nonstop. He will be a friend. FYI, he is one of the greatest hackers. So how did you like Moot? He is very sensitive, so be gentle. Oh my fucking God. So anyway, all this has happened 3 days after Moot met with Jeffrey Epstein. Poll was launched. Key people rape ape. That's a little bit of a, what the fuck are we talking about here? Oh my God. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, that's normal over there, though. That's normal. And so, yes, so it was launched 3 days after. And if you're saying, so Poll, Moot relaunched Poll on possibly the same day he met Jeffrey Epstein for the first time and continued to meet with them and co afterwards. So here's what's really crazy. It gets even better than this. Many people might have forgotten this. Many years ago, there was a leak that showed the amount of people that, let's see here, Poll's archive stats, adding Israel to the top and posting it here as a database leak. Oh, is it not true? Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. It's not true. No, it's got to be true. It's too good to be true. No, it can't be a lie. Because Israel it's fake? No, this conspiracy was promised to me 3,000 years ago.
For the job, sugar.
Fuck! Oh my God! Why would they do this? This is so annoying. Beware unsubstantiated claims. Well, that's why I look into it. That's why I do it. And we are doing fact checking in real time, okay? That's why we get shit wrong. And Poll was a psyop created by a Mossad agent to increase the influence of a dying Republican Party and then have a stranglehold on the American government. Wow fares Israel. Yeah, there it is again. Creator and owner of 4chan, Chris Poole, was in contact with Epstein. Hackers revealed that half of the posts ever on Poll were from Israeli IP addresses. There it is, gentlemen. I don't have the theme song, queued up, but, we could play it. Poll was created by Mossad, but they couldn't control the narrative? Maybe. Yeah, it's like Poll being created by Mossad is the same thing like Yakub creating white people. It's pretty much the same issue because so Mossad creates Poll in order to create like a right-wing contingency group, and then Poll over time just begins to decide that Jews are actually the bad guys and they're actually the ones that are the problem with everything. And it's the same thing that happened with Yakub, is that in Africa, Yakub made white people in a fucking laboratory, and then, everything was fine, but then they just started going haywire. And now the white people are causing all the problems, and they turned against them. Yeah, they bite the hands that feeds, exactly. And I don't believe that's true. What are you, gay? What are you, some kind of gay? Is that it? You don't think it's true? Is that right? Poll was a psyop. Pizzagate was real. Epstein is an anon. Gillisane was a Reddit supermod. What the fuck is this shit, bros? Can you imagine, going back in time and telling somebody in 2016, what was Pizzagate again? Okay, so Pizzagate, a lot of people might have forgotten about Pizzagate. So Pizzagate was a pizza shop that was in I forgot where it was, and it was a guy that was involved with Hillary Clinton. His name was John Podesta. And John Podesta, there was a lot of people that, and this is something, I almost don't want to say this, but it's just the truth, is that a lot of people use pizza as a euphemism for any sort of porn involving minors, right? Because CP is cheese pizza, and it's also child pornography. That's the reason why. And so, I'm just going to say it, right? Just say it. That's what it is. So that way, when you see people saying that, if you see people saying cheese pizza, not porn, literal children, I know. That's what I'm saying, right? That's it. And so, why can't I hear anything? Yes, white sauce pizza, some crazy lore, yeah. And so, again, my mom was totally fucking all researching this, looking into it. She believed everything about Pizzagate. She thought all of this stuff was real. And as I said earlier, if there is one thing, like I have missed my mom recently more than any other time, and it's not because I'm nostalgic, it's because all of her conspiracy theories are coming true. They're all coming true. Like fucking COVID being fake, the election potentially being stolen, you know, Pizzagate being real, like it just everything. Fucking everything. Like she was sitting there, my mom in 2020 was sitting there on 4chan listening to Nick Fuentes and fucking watching Alex Jones videos all day. All day. She was in there right on the ground floor. Yep, and she was there smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, on oxygen, eating chocolate in handfuls, eating Taco Bell, chugging Pepsis, watching Ancient Aliens, and getting involved in conspiracy theories. 70 years old. That's it. Living like a champ she was, bro. Like, she was. Good way to go out. She did. And the thing is that she went out, like, overall, right? I mean, she never compromised. She never would compromise. And let me tell you something. It's a lot funnier now because back then it ruined my life. But looking back on it, it's fucking funny. It really is. And your father's a lucky man? Yeah. Anyway, a cigarette sounds like college for me, minus the O2. Yeah, sure. And did she predict Trump potentially blowing Bill Clinton? She thought that basically a lot of the people that were involved were, they would have to do some sort of act in order to, basically, this is her belief, is that, Jesus Christ, I should have written a lot of these down. I recorded her explaining some of her conspiracy theories, but like, I don't think you guys can understand this. Let me see if I have an image here that I can just show you guys. This might take me a couple of minutes. I apologize. But where is the image here? I'm trying to see if I can find one. And what I'm looking for is an image of my garage. And you'll know why whenever I show you. Because the amount of books that we have in our house, I would assume that we have 1,000 books in this house. I am not even kidding you. And she read about 950 of them. So this is all she did. Is this it? No, that's not it. God damn, there's so many fucking stupid photos I have in here. And yeah, I have no idea where the hell this is. I might not be able to find it. Give me just a little bit longer. And if I can't, then I can't. This counts as, yeah, that's a library. Yeah, it was basically, okay, I did actually somehow find a photo. Okay, give me 1 second. All right, so let me just make sure there's nothing that's problematic on here. I just wanted to I wanted to make sure that the 5 issues that she had of Mein Kampf weren't on the image here. Obviously, let me go back. I'll show you, and I did find the image, and I can show it to you right now. Give me 1 second.
5, 4, 3,
I'm just kidding. It's 10.
1.
Okay.
All you need to do is capture the missionary.
So this is what we this is what we had growing up, right? And where is it? Okay. Sorry about the image being small. Is this all good? Yeah, it is. Okay. I just screenshotted it, so it's not great. This is just simply one bookcase. And for context, that's a ladder. Yeah. Holy. And this is, by the way, there's like 4 of these in the house. Yeah. It's not bad. Yeah, exactly. That's a lot of books. It is. That's a lot of books. And that's actually also after we had to get rid of a lot of them, too. So whenever she would explain things, you got to understand, like, this is all she would do. Like, you think about it, she would just get high, play World of Warcraft, and read about conspiracy theories. And if you think about it, you know, Bruce Lee once said that he doesn't fear the man who knows how to do 1,000 punches or 10,000 punches, but he does fear the man who's done one punch 10,000 times. Imagine somebody that spends 50 years doing this. It's nuts, man. I mean, nowadays, all conspiracy theories linked to the bullshit with Israel. They sure do. And yeah, there it is. That describes me. Did you listen to Bill Cooper and Jordan Maxwell? Probably, yeah. And you didn't want a better price for the spell books? Yeah, sure, right? Have a stream going through every single book. Well, anyway, every single conspiracy has turned out to be true. I don't even know what to say. I don't. And so anyway, what did I tell you guys? For years, I said the culture war stuff was manufactured by the capitalist class. And also, by the way, I said many times that I thought Occupy Wall Street was the closest thing that we had ever came to having class consciousness, right? And because of that, all of the elites panicked, and they injected the Democrat Party and all of politics with identity politics to keep people infighting about, oh, but you're gay? I'm black. Oh, what are you? I don't know what I am. Oh, that's special. And that's it. And transgender and everything else. Because it was always a thing, but it got dialed way up after 2010, didn't it? It sure did. So we have right here, when did Occupy Wall Street really happen? From September 17th to November 2011. Jeffrey Epstein talks to Christopher Poole in the middle of Occupy Wall Street in October. And then during Occupy Wall Street, Poole is born. Gentlemen, my conspiracy theory that I invented out of nothing is true. This is another point on the graph, and it's drawing the same line. I'm feeling pretty good, guys. I'm feeling really good. Oh, sounds like a Mossad operation. It is, and I feel like it's so fucking obvious, man. I see this, and it's so obvious. Poe used to be a spinoff of New, which came out as /N. /N probably means something different now, doesn't it? And the lizards are watching. I know that. And so there's a lot of data Tim Pool has on the Occupy Wall Street movements. Sure, the Democrats took a liking to the AstroTurf culture war. Someone tell them? They all did. Everybody did. And so they injected everything, politics with identity politics. Everything is identity politics now. Wait, I'm confused. So basically, all right, let me take a step back. I'm going to tell you what I believe. This is what I think happened. I think that everything leading up to, because in 2000s, we had movies like Rush Hour. We had everybody making jokes about being gay. We had people not really giving a shit as much about being gay. You know, you could call people the N-word. You could use the F-word. Nobody cared about what anybody was saying. None of it really mattered. And then we had the absolute pinnacle fucking, canon moment of Tropic Thunder. And Tropic Thunder was the point where nobody gave a shit about anything anymore. You had people making jokes about being gay. You had people wearing blackface. You had people making jokes about being fat. Everything, right? It was the golden age. Everything was amazing. All of the identity problems in America still existed, but they were receding. And it was obvious that they were receding, and everybody could see that. Fast forward to 2 or 3 years later. Tropic Thunder came out 2008, 2009. And then this is after the, because you had 9/11 originally, right? And, this was happening in the 90s too, keep in mind, is that in the 90s, everybody was getting along, everything was good. The 80s into the 90s, people are being very part of, everybody was the same. And then 9/11 happens. All the Arabs are bad. All Muslims are bad. And, you're going right back to, anybody brown is bad. And so then that recovered, right? And by the end of the 2010, a lot of that was a joke at this point, right? You had jokes about it, but people weren't really doing it seriously anymore. And so anyway, yeah, Durka, oh yeah, all the old fucking memes, Muhammad Jihad and everything. This is a huge thing back in 2000, the early 2000s, massive thing. And so then, after all that, so everybody was coming back together, and a group of college students got together, and they got in front of Wall Street. And there was a huge protest at the time, right? You can see how many people were here. And there was a coordinated mainstream media approach to delegitimize this protest. That one of the biggest, I think, turncoats in it was Stephen Colbert, if you can believe that, because you'd assume this guy, I think that really, I go back and I think about it, the guy was always kind of an asshole. But, I try to give Stephen Colbert a pass because he likes Lord of the Rings, okay? I'm a little bit biased here. But either way, they made a fool out of the Occupy Wall Street people. But this was the first time. Look at these things here. Wake up America, tax Wall Street, tax the rich. We are the 99%. Dear 1%, we fell asleep for a while. We just woke up, the 99%. the elites and the rich people in the country saw that, and they said, we've got to put these fuckers back to bed. And so what they did after 2011 is that is whenever all of the identity politics came in. That is whenever all of the tone policing came in. That is whenever woke culture began. And they did that in order to keep, because you can see also, like, you look at a lot of these people, right? These are all primarily, like, there's white people here. There's, I don't know, like maybe Hispanic here. There's men, women. This guy's, I think he doesn't look white either. This is a completely non-racial movement. It was not a, movement of any one particular group of people. It was primarily young people because a big factor was student loans, but everybody was being affected by this. It was. And so you've got a ton more of this stuff here. Occupy Wall Street. Yeah, look at this. Kanye West, Russell Simmons lends support to Occupy Wall Street protesters. There he is, man. Yep, and look at again. Look at also, this is how it used to be. Look at what he's got right there. American flags.
I am ready to put on a show.
All with American flags. It's kind of a bullshit flag, but it's still an American flag. The GOAT, yeah, they did this. So Kanye was also in favor of this. So all of this happened. It got even more extreme, and eventually Occupy Wall Street failed. It did. Wall Street is still not occupied. And so, as he tying to screenshot, well, I'll explain. So basically, it was gaining a lot of momentum. So what they did is they injected the political culture with a bunch of identity politics. Now it's about being trans, being gay, being non-binary, being black, being white, lived experience, and they created all of this vocabulary in order to cause people to divide each other. Because back then, the policy was to just deport all illegal aliens. This was the policy of, Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, probably Donald Trump also, but Bernie Sanders, Obama, like everybody thought this. Everybody thought this. And so this was the closest that we have ever come, anybody has ever come, to actual class consciousness. It was. This is the closest that it's ever happened. And you can see here, there's white people, black people, even celebrities that are there at these events. And all of this happened. And then after it failed, then everything was gay. Everything was trans. Everything was racial. Everything was some sort of identity. It was men and women and rape culture and all this stuff. And I think this happened on purpose. I think this was a top-down initiative that was done top-down in order to think Occupies a Wall Street. You don't get it? It's a phase? Well, apparently it was. And so it was done, and this is a conspiracy theory. It is. But you know what makes my conspiracy theory a little bit more valid? When during Occupy Wall Street, one of the richest and most influential people, Jeffrey Epstein, met with one of the other people that was running a website that a lot of people were discussing politics on. And then as a result of that, potentially, we don't know if this is a causal factor. It might have been, just a coincidence. But during Occupy Wall Street, Poll was born. You see that? Can you believe that? That's nuts. Holy shit. Was Gamergate also a result? Gamergate was a result. It absolutely was. Gamergate was the first really big cultural flashpoint. Because a lot of people, and the reason why is because, again, keep in mind where Gamergate came from. Gamergate was overwhelmingly supported by Reddit. Everybody everywhere was supportive of Gamergate. If you go back and you look at YouTube videos of Gamergate from 2014, every single YouTube video is massively positive about Gamergate. Everybody supported it. And so the reason why it changed is because the media intentionally misled everybody about it. Ferguson came before Gamergate? Well, I don't remember about Ferguson. I don't know about that. Reddit was even against Gamergate? Reddit? No. You don't understand. Reddit was not against Gamergate. The top posts on Reddit, period, were Gamergate posts. It dominated the entire website. It's not like this was part of the website. It's not like, oh, there were some people that agreed with this. No, this was the overwhelming absolute culture. Yeah, Reddit pushed it. Yeah, like whenever somebody, like I'm trying to remember some of the guys that make Grade A, Under A, Keemstar, you know, a lot of those old drama YouTube people. Whenever they made a video about it, you know, Mr. Medica, remember him? Remember?
Sweet
Here's the thing
mask.
that I need for
Ugly
protesters
gay,
and everyone
and
to start
social
realizing,
justice
okay?
and
We're at war. The protests are
blame. I
over.
can't believe
There's no more
the lies
protests.
that
This
you
is combat
want
now.
to kill for.
He shot her because she was queer.
Unless you got between your ears, never
You can see so
listen.
clearly. I didn't think that it was like that before, but when you see the footage, he shot her because she was queer. And you voted for this.
If they told you to jump off a cliff, would you
Hey, white people, you need to start being armed during the protest. Seriously. What happened to Renee Good would not have happened if every white person in that crowd around them had a rifle on them.
Show up ready to go. Okay? Not talking about peaceful protests anymore. We're not talking about having polite conversations anymore. Welcome to America 2026, where Second Amendment is the only thing that's going to keep you protected from literal Nazi gunmen that are killing innocent people in the street with impunity. This is not a joke. There's nothing fun to chant about it. Get your guns and stop these people.
Open your eyes.
When I finally stepped out of the world of left-wing activism, it felt a lot like waking up from an artificial reality. One that only held together as long as you didn't look at it too closely. It all felt so real to me though. I believed every narrative, I felt every outrage. And when something didn't add up, I told myself the white lies didn't hurt anyone. We were working towards liberation, so the little cracks didn't matter. I know that adrenaline of outrage and moral certainty, and I also know the feeling of being dead wrong. Which is why I'm speaking directly to the people I used to march with in 2020. The ones who likely feel that same pull again. Because what's playing out in Minneapolis looks eerily familiar. 2 protesters are gone, and armchair experts are already litigating their death videos. And people are being swept back into the mindset that consumed us years ago. So I'm not here to debate the shootings. What matters to me is a question no one seems to be asking my old friends on the left. Are you really willing to die for a lie?
The Trump administration is going all in to root out fraud. Vice President J.D. Vance announced a new federal task force which will go after people who rip off taxpayers nationwide.
So, as Minnesota's industrial fraud schemes spread throughout America and the government cracks down, the mobs are rising up, taking to the streets in America's scam capital to plunder and destroy everything they can in an attempt to have ICE stop arresting illegal fugitives, as well as their door-to-door raids of fraud strongholds, which some elected officials are mobilizing left field armies to defend at all costs.
They just started marching. It's very loud. They have drums, they have whistles, they have bullhorns, and the reason is because they are going outside hotels where they believe ICE agents are sleeping.
And when people are disappeared in the darkness, American democracy dies. They are disappearing U.S. citizens. They are disappearing people who have proper documentation. This should not be allowed.
Those aren't calls to peacefully protest. Those are calls to violence, which we have seen every single day. Politicians are celebrating those doing hand-to-hand combat with law enforcement. Somehow they are now martyrs.
Within the last few weeks, Minnesota has become the focal point of one of the most extensive fraud ecosystems exposed in recent history. Billions of dollars diverted through empty daycares, ghost clinics, fleets of unused vans, shell nonprofits, and other schemes that abused federal programs tied to immigration and benefit funding. Around the same time that federal investigators began closing in on these networks, and the immigration system that enabled them, anti-federal enforcement protesters broke out on the streets. Activist rhetoric quickly reframed federal law enforcement, particularly ICE, not as executing lawful warrants or helping to curb this fraud problem, but as an occupying oppressive force targeting innocent brown neighbors. And it wasn't just fringe activists saying this. The governor, mayor, and other politicians led with this rhetoric. Residents were urged by those same politicians and activists to film ICE agents, block arrests, and resist what was characterized as tyranny.
What's happening in Minnesota right now defies belief. News reports simply don't do justice to the level of chaos and disruption and trauma the federal government is raining down upon our communities. 2,000 to 3,000 armed agents of the federal government have been deployed to Minnesota. Armed, masked, undertrained ICE agents are going door to door, ordering people to point out where their neighbors of color live. They're breaking windows, dragging pregnant women down the street, just plain grabbing Minnesotans and shoving them into unmarked vans, kidnapping innocent people with no warning and no due process. Let's be very, very clear. This long ago stopped being a matter of immigration enforcement. Instead, it's a campaign of organized brutality against the people of Minnesota by our own federal government.
Some of the language reached absurd heights. It was no longer good enough to call Trump a Nazi. Now the immigrants themselves were Anne Frank, and the activists were being framed as the neighbors who hid Anne Frank in the attic. I mean, this stuff is absolutely preposterous.
We have got children in Minnesota hiding in their houses, afraid to go outside. Many of us grew up reading that story of Anne Frank. Somebody's going to write that children's story about Minnesota.
You guys know why Anne Frank had to go into hiding, right? It's because soldiers started to go door to door to demand to see everyone's papers, and if someone's papers said they were Jewish, they were detained and then transported to a camp.
Right, this stops now. Comparing what ICE are doing in America to what happened to Anne Frank is historically illiterate and morally indefensible. In case anyone needs reminding, what ICE are doing, deporting people who are in the United States illegally, is what with varying degrees every single country in the world does. As for Anne Frank, her and her family were in hiding because the Germans were trying to capture every Jewish person as part of a genocidal plan to exterminate their entire race. Not the same thing.
While they believed they were fighting federal oppression, they were actually blocking the very people closing in on massive fraud networks, trafficking rings, and widespread benefits abuse. The percentage of illegal immigrants with criminal charges or convictions is debated between 47% and 70%. DHS created a public website showing some of the worst offenders they are arresting. As I scroll, you will see real cases from Minnesota. We have here criminal sexual conduct with a minor, aggravated assault with a weapon, homicide, sexual assault and rape, burglary, fraud, and terroristic threats. These include illegal immigrants from Mexico, Sierra Leone, Somalia, and Laos. Activists who block these arrests have no idea if they are protecting a violent offender or someone with a minor violation. Either way, it's not appropriate. The risk of enabling a dangerous criminal to escape should stop anyone in their tracks. It's devastating any time a person dies, and the deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy are heartbreaking. But what makes their deaths especially painful to me is the story they were swept into. They believed they were participating in a moral rescue mission, shielding vulnerable families, resisting oppression, defending their neighbors from injustice. That conviction was cultivated and reinforced by the local government, media, and their peers. It was mirrored back to them until it felt like the only path forward. For them, they weren't just protesting. They were acting out a story they had been taught, that the state, embodied by ICE, was an oppressive, racist institution that hunted down their innocent brown neighbors, and that it was their duty as white allies to stand in the breach.
As a white woman that looks like that poor woman that was shot, let me tell you, I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop putting myself in front of black and brown people to protect them. I'm not gonna stop being empathetic. I'm not gonna stop going to protest. You have just pissed me off more. Here's the thing, I'm not afraid of you. What I'm afraid of is my children and grandchildren living under fascism.
The worldview driving these moments didn't appear out of nowhere. It comes from a deeper ideological current, one that many Americans don't recognize, but immigrants who fled communist regimes spot instantly. For decades, universities and activist spaces have taught a framework rooted in cultural Marxism. The belief that society is divided into oppressor and oppressed groups defined by identity, and that liberation comes through struggle, disruption, and the dismantling of existing institutions. Critical race theory simply applies that logic to race. In that worldview, whiteness becomes the stand-in for the ruling class. People of color, and in this case, immigrants in general, become the designated oppressed class. And white guilt becomes a political resource to be harvested and mobilized. This conditioning creates a very specific psychological posture in white progressives. They are trained to distrust their own instincts, suppress their doubt, and treat their emotions, especially discomfort or confusion, as evidence of complicity. Within that culture, once whiteness is defined as guilt, obedience to the cause of liberation begins to function as a form of virtue. Taking action to further that cause becomes the pathway to absolution, and even a moment's hesitation is reframed as hostility. That's why at the protests happening in Minneapolis right now, you see moments like this.
So I mean, I'm just walking around kind of just dazed-eyed because I got up, I was like, I don't know if it's the right thing to do. It feels kind of wrong being here in some way. I don't know why.
Why yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, like, where that stems from. Like, I mean, part of it is being like a white woman that I'm privileged and I have a lot of privilege. So I feel like white tears are not always something that's helpful or necessary when black and brown people have been experiencing this for a long time. This isn't new for them, and so I don't know if that makes any sense.
Here's a woman who is clearly distressed, yet she believes she has no right to her own feelings. She's been taught that her emotions are suspect, her presence is questionable, and that white tears themselves are a form of harm. And yet she also believes she must be there because her whiteness makes her complicit unless she's performing solidarity. Her confusion isn't accidental. It is the intended outcome of a worldview that destabilizes identity, induces shame, and then channels that shame into activism. No one had to command her to show up. The ideology did that on its own. This is exactly what Xi Van Fleet, who survived Mao's communist revolution in China, has been warning America about for years. She recognized the pattern in the BLM protests of 2020 and now in Minnesota instantly. The moral re-education, the struggle sessions, the pressure to confess privilege, the demand to prove loyalty through public action, and of course, the mass destruction. In her words, this isn't simply activism. This is Marxist revolution playing out in cultural form.
And in every protest, so-called protest, since BLM and in 2020, we always find communist flags and banners among the protesters. This is a communist revolution. I say that we had Marxist cultural revolution in this country for a long time, but this time in Minneapolis, it is communist insurrection.
Well, Peter, you wrote a whole book about how China is infiltrating the United States, a silent coup, and this has Chinese fingerprints all over it, in my view. And it's not like you're going to have a direct line